Welcome back to the GH Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the thrilling developments unfolding in Port Charles as one of our favorite characters embarks on a perilous mission that could change the city's power dynamics forever. The question that has everyone on the edge of their seats: will Jordan Ashford's daring undercover operation save Port Charles from Jen Sidwell's sinister machinations, or will her cover be compromised, endangering everything and everyone she holds dear? This high-stakes gamble represents the culmination of months of tension between City Hall and Sidwell's growing influence. The dangerous game begins. Jordan Ashford, Port Charles's deputy mayor with a decorated past in undercover operations, has made the extraordinary decision to infiltrate Jen Sidwell's organization. This isn't merely accepting a position, it's a calculated stratagem to dismantle his entire operation from within. The audacity of this plan speaks volumes about Jordan's unwavering commitment to protecting Port Charles, even at tremendous personal risk. Her extensive experience in covert operations dates back to her initial arrival in Port Charles, when she successfully penetrated the Jerome crime family. Those hard-earned skills that once defined her career are being resurrected for what might be her most perilous assignment yet. The psychological complexity of returning to undercover work after years in legitimate law enforcement and government cannot be overstated. Jordan must reconnect with aspects of herself she thought were long buried. The psychological toll of maintaining a false identity while surrounded by dangerous individuals cannot be underestimated. Every conversation becomes a potential trap, every casual interaction a possible exposure. Jordan will need to draw upon her exceptional mental fortitude to maintain her cover while gathering the evidence needed to bring Sidwell down. City politics and personal vendettas. Mayor Laura Collins harbors profound animosity towards Sidwell that transcends typical political rivalry. It stems from a deeply personal wound. The abduction of her son Lucky in Africa last summer at Sidwell's hands has transformed this conflict into a blood feud disguised as political opposition. This personal dimension adds layers of emotional complexity to Jordan's mission. Laura's dual role as both mayor and mother creates a fascinating dynamic where professional responsibility intersects with maternal protection instincts. Her sophisticated political acumen combined with her fierce protective nature makes her both Sidwell's most formidable opponent and potentially his most vulnerable target. The psychological warfare between these two power players continues to escalate with each passing day. The mayor's office has become a fortress of resistance against Sidwell's encroachment, with Laura utilizing every political tool at her disposal to counter his influence. Behind closed doors, strategy sessions run late into the night as Laura and her trusted circle plot countermoves to Sidwell's aggressive expansion. Jordan's undercover operation represents their most audacious gambit yet. The Sidwell dynasty expands. The complexity of this situation has intensified dramatically with the arrival of Marco, Sidwell's son with Natalia Rogers Ramirez. This calculated placement within Alexis and Diane's prestigious law firm is far from coincidental. It represents a strategic infiltration designed to gather intelligence on Sunny Corinthos, Port Charles's established crime lord. Marco's position grants him unprecedented access to confidential legal documents and sensitive business matters related to Sunny's operations. This intelligence pipeline flowing directly to Sidwell creates a dangerous information asymmetry that could destabilize the delicate power equilibrium that has maintained a semblance of peace in Port Charles for years. The young Sidwell heir presents a fascinating psychological study. Raised in his father's shadow, Marco has developed a chameleon-like ability to blend into professional environments while maintaining absolute loyalty to family interests. His charm and apparent competence serve as perfect camouflage for his true purpose, making him perhaps more dangerous than his more overtly threatening father. Political ambitions and moral compromises. Congressman Drew's aggressive advocacy for the Esplanade development project along the piers directly threatens Sunny's territorial interests, suggesting a troubling alliance with Sidwell that has shocked longtime observers of Port Charles politics. This unexpected alignment has generated intense backlash from constituents who feel betrayed by what they perceive as Drew's moral compromise. The transformation in Drew's political approach has sparked heated debates about the corrupting influence of power. His willingness to partner with someone of Sidwell's reputation for the sake of political advancement represents a profound character evolution that many find disturbing. The psychological journey from principled citizen to pragmatic politician willing to make morally questionable alliances provides a fascinating subplot to the larger drama. This political realignment creates a precarious situation where Jordan may find herself directly opposing Drew in her undercover capacity. The potential for these former allies to become unwitting adversaries adds another layer of emotional complexity to an already fraught situation. Their inevitable confrontation promises to be a defining moment in Port Charles's political history. Romantic complications. Amidst these professional dangers, Jordan's personal life has taken an intriguing turn, with clandestine meetings with Dr. Isaiah Gannon becoming increasingly frequent. This budding romance introduces yet another variable into an already volatile equation. The emotional vulnerability that comes with new love could either compromise Jordan's focus or provide essential emotional support during her dangerous mission. Dr. Gannon's position in the Port Charles medical community gives him access to information and resources that could prove either helpful or hazardous to Jordan's undercover work. The question of whether to bring him into her confidence represents a significant dilemma. Trust is a luxury Jordan can ill afford in her current circumstances, yet emotional isolation during such a stressful operation carries its own risks. The psychology of forming romantic attachments during high-stress, high-risk situations creates a fascinating dynamic. The heightened emotional state induced by danger can accelerate intimacy, potentially clouding judgment at critical moments. Jordan must navigate these complex feelings while maintaining the sharp focus her mission demands. Predictions and potential outcomes. The trajectory of Jordan's dangerous gambit suggests several possible outcomes, each with far-reaching implications for Port Charles's future. While initial infiltration appears successful, maintaining her cover will become increasingly difficult as she penetrates deeper into Sidwell's organization. Marco, with his keen observational skills, represents the most immediate threat to her operation. His legal training has honed his ability to detect inconsistencies that others might miss. Drew's political alliance with Sidwell carries the seeds of its own destruction. The inevitable public exposure of Sidwell's true nature will likely trigger a catastrophic political scandal that could end Drew's promising career and fundamentally reshape Port Charles's political landscape for years to come. Laura's unwavering determination to protect both her family and her city places her in an increasingly precarious position. As Jordan's operation progresses, Laura may find herself forced to make impossible choices between political expediency and personal safety. The psychological burden of these decisions will test even her remarkable resilience. The coming weeks promise dramatic developments as these complex threads intertwine in unexpected ways. Jordan's undercover operation stands at the center of a perfect storm of political ambition, personal vendettas, family loyalty, and romantic entanglements, a volatile combination that guarantees explosive consequences for everyone involved in this high-stakes drama. As Port Charles stands on the precipice of transformation, one thing remains certain: the courage of individuals like Jordan Ashford represents the city's best hope against the encroaching darkness of Sidwell's influence. Whether that courage will be enough remains the question that keeps viewers returning for more of this compelling saga. Next, we will learn about the explosive situation developing between Alexis Davis and Ava Jerome, with Christina Davis caught in the middle of a dangerous game that could have life-altering consequences for everyone involved. The burning questions. What do you think? Will Alexis ultimately outsmart Ava in this high-stakes battle of wills? The psychological chess match between these two formidable women has reached a critical juncture, with Christina's future hanging precariously in the balance. Alexis has demonstrated remarkable maternal instinct combined with legal acumen, but Ava's reputation for ruthlessness should never be underestimated. Will Alexis confide in Sunny about Ava's blackmail attempt? This decision carries enormous implications for Port Charles's delicate power balance. Bringing Sunny Corinthos into this volatile situation could transform a personal conflict into an all-out war between two of the city's most influential families. The ripple effects would inevitably touch countless lives beyond those directly involved. Will Sunny unleash his notorious vengeance against Ava? History has shown that threats against Sunny's children trigger his most primal protective instincts. If Alexis reveals Ava's manipulation, we could witness Sunny at his most dangerous, a prospect that should terrify even someone as calculating as Ava Jerome. The potential for collateral damage in such a scenario is incalculable. Sunny's potential retaliation. Sunny Corinthos, upon learning of Ava's attempted blackmail against Alexis regarding their daughter Christina, would likely experience an emotional tsunami combining paternal rage, protective instinct, and cold calculation. His relationship with Ava has always been combustible, a volatile mixture of shared history, mutual antagonism, and their connection through their daughter Avery. The revelation could trigger Sunny's most dangerous impulses, potentially culminating in a confrontation where he draws his weapon on Ava. Such a moment would represent more than mere intimidation. It would symbolize the complete breakdown of whatever fragile civility they'd maintained for Avery's sake. The psychological terror Ava would experience, staring down the barrel of Sunny's gun, might finally make her comprehend the gravity of targeting a Corinthos child. Sunny's ultimate leverage, custody of Avery, represents his most powerful weapon against Ava. By threatening to reveal Ava's blackmail attempt to the PCPD unless she relinquishes full custody of their daughter, Sunny would be striking at Ava's most vulnerable point. This custody ultimatum would force Ava into an impossible choice between potential imprisonment and losing her daughter, a diabolically fitting punishment for her attempted manipulation of another mother-daughter relationship. The regret washing over Ava as she realizes the catastrophic miscalculation she made in targeting Christina would be profound. Her scheme, born of opportunism and greed, has backfired spectacularly, potentially costing her everything she values. This moment of reckoning could represent a turning point for Ava's character, either pushing her toward even more desperate measures or forcing a rare moment of introspection about the destructive patterns in her life. Alexis confronts Ava. The confrontation between Alexis and Ava represents a masterclass in psychological warfare. Ava arrives at Alexis's door brimming with smug confidence, certain her blackmail scheme has trapped the former district attorney in an inescapable corner. The demand for Cassadine estate money, a fortune with its own dark history, demonstrates Ava's boundless avarice and opportunism. Alexis's shocking response, essentially telling Ava to do her worst, completely upends the power dynamic. This unexpected defiance leaves Ava momentarily speechless, her carefully constructed leverage crumbling before her eyes. The calculated risk Alexis takes in this moment reveals both her strategic brilliance and her absolute commitment to protecting Christina, even at potential cost to herself. Ava, desperate to regain control, escalates to threatening Molly with the incriminating video of Christina. This represents a critical miscalculation on Ava's part. She fails to understand the depth of family loyalty among the Davis women. Alexis's revelation that she's already informed Molly about Christina's commitment demonstrates her strategic foresight in neutralizing Ava's ammunition before it could be deployed. The fury that consumes Ava as her scheme disintegrates is palpable. Her carefully orchestrated plan to exploit Christina's crime for financial gain has not only failed but potentially created a dangerous enemy in Alexis Davis, a woman whose Cassadine heritage makes her far more formidable than her professional demeanor might suggest. Ava's subsequent confession of failure to Rick Lansing represents a rare moment of vulnerability for a character accustomed to manipulating circumstances to her advantage. Alexis confides in Sunny. The conversation between Alexis and Sunny about their daughter's fate would be fraught with complex emotions and shared history. These co-parents, whose relationship has evolved through decades of drama, crisis, and occasional alliance, must now navigate perhaps their most challenging parental dilemma yet. Alexis's decision to inform Sunny about both Christina's crime and Ava's subsequent blackmail attempt demonstrates her recognition of his parental rights, despite the potential consequences of involving him. Sunny's initial reaction to learning about Christina's institutionalization might include resistance. His protective instincts often manifest as control rather than support. However, Alexis's legal expertise and maternal conviction would likely eventually persuade him of the necessity of this drastic measure. This rare moment of parental alignment between them would underscore the gravity of Christina's situation. The revelation about Ava's blackmail attempt would trigger a transformation in Sunny's demeanor, from concerned father to vengeful protector. The cold calculation that replaces his initial shock would be familiar to longtime observers of Sunny Corinthos. His vow to make Ava pay would carry the weight of history, a promise from a man who has repeatedly demonstrated his capacity for retribution against those who threaten his family. This conversation between Alexis and Sunny would represent a pivotal moment for both characters, a temporary alliance between two people whose approaches to crisis often diverge dramatically. Their shared concern for Christina temporarily bridges their philosophical differences, creating a unified front against external threats to their daughter's well-being. Christina's institutionalization strategy. Alexis Davis's decision to have Christina committed represents a brilliant legal strategy born of maternal desperation. By following Diane Miller's advice, a testament to their enduring professional respect and personal friendship, Alexis creates a preemptive defense against the criminal charges that would otherwise be inevitable. This strategy demonstrates Alexis's ability to think several moves ahead, like the skilled legal chess player she has always been. The institutionalization serves multiple strategic purposes beyond merely getting Christina the psychological help she clearly needs. It effectively neutralizes Ava's blackmail attempt by removing the leverage of exposure. Alexis has already taken control of the narrative by acknowledging Christina's instability. Additionally, it potentially mitigates future legal consequences by establishing Christina's compromised mental state before formal charges can be filed. Alexis's willingness to have her daughter committed, a painful decision for any parent, reveals the depths of her maternal protection instinct. She recognizes that temporary institutionalization, however difficult, represents Christina's best chance to avoid the permanent consequences of imprisonment. This sacrifice of short-term family harmony for long-term protection exemplifies Alexis's pragmatic approach to crisis management. The psychological implications for Christina herself cannot be overlooked. Her institutionalization, while necessary, will likely trigger complex feelings of betrayal, abandonment, and resentment toward her mother. The road to reconciliation between them will be long and difficult, potentially straining their relationship for years to come. This represents yet another sacrifice Alexis is willing to make, risking her daughter's affection to save her future. Christina's dangerous actions. Christina Corinthos Davis's decision to cut the brake lines on what she believed was Ava Jerome's car represents a shocking escalation in her pattern of impulsive behavior. This premeditated act of sabotage, captured on video with wire cutters in hand, demonstrates a disturbing willingness to risk human life in pursuit of vengeance. The psychological implications are profound, suggesting Christina has inherited some of the darker aspects of both her parents' temperaments. The tragic irony that the car actually belonged to Rick Lansing adds layers of complexity to Christina's crime. Her mistaken targeting resulted in endangering not only Rick but also Elizabeth Baldwin, an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire of Christina's misdirected rage. This collateral damage amplifies the potential legal consequences, with 3 potential attempted murder charges hanging over her head. The psychological factors driving Christina to such extreme action warrant examination. Her history of emotional volatility, questionable relationship choices, and previous involvement with cult-like organizations suggests a young woman struggling with identity, boundaries, and impulse control. These underlying issues make Alexis's decision to seek psychiatric intervention not merely a legal strategy but a necessary medical intervention. The potential charges, 3 counts of attempted murder, underscore the gravity of Christina's actions. Without intervention, she faces the prospect of decades in prison, a devastating consequence that would effectively destroy her future. This reality fuels Alexis's desperate measures to protect her daughter, even at the cost of temporarily restricting Christina's freedom through institutionalization. The blackmail plot revealed. At the heart of this unfolding drama lies Ava Jerome's opportunistic blackmail attempt, a scheme born of greed in leveraging Christina's vulnerable legal position. Upon discovering evidence of Christina's crime, Ava saw not a disturbing act requiring intervention but a financial opportunity to exploit. This callous commodification of potential tragedy reveals the depths of Ava's moral flexibility. Ava's specific demand for Cassadine estate money adds historical complexity to the blackmail attempt. The Cassadine fortune, built on generations of ambition and occasional criminality, represents a significant portion of Alexis's inheritance and security. Ava's attempt to access these funds through extortion demonstrates both her financial desperation and her willingness to target family legacies for personal gain.